Well, hello everyone and welcome to CNN News 18. Today, we are tackling a mind-blowing question. Is Google, the undisputed king of search, really preparing for a future without search? Well, it all sounds very crazy, but hear me out as Google's CEO Sundar Pichai, in an interview with Wired, while talking about Google's most powerful generative AI-based chatbot Gemini, hinted at a future without search engines. Now, let me put this into perspective for you. From nearest coffee cafes to best places to stay in Bali, we all search this on a search engine. And if the search engine won't exist, then what next? Well, Mr. Pichai has definitely left us with a bunch of questions. What does this mean for us? How will we find information without traditional search engines? Well, joining us on the broadcast is Rudra Kasturi, a renowned expert in the field of technology and its impact on society. Having served as the Chief Growth Officer for prominent media publishing houses in India, he boasts extensive expertise in search strategies, education, and digital entrepreneurship with the realm of AI. Well, welcome to CNN News 18, Mr. Kasturi. Is the king ditching its crown really? Are you excited or are you worried about it?
Good morning, Koina. Thank you for having me here. According to, I think if you understand carefully what Pichai has mentioned, he is mentioning that they are in the experimental mode to understand what's going to be the future in search. Right. They came for the long way, and they are really not keen about what is next, given the in the last 1 year, the kind of development that has been happening on OpenAI. I think they are really looking at an alternative for search, if not the overall, maybe in set of categories that may not be search relevant, because it's no longer about blue links. It's all about getting an answer for a question as fast as possible with great accuracy and great user experience and fastest, right? That's all matters right now. In my opinion, I think that is what even Google is heading towards to. And I believe if everything goes well, that's going to be our future as well. And you're right. Search may or may not exist in the long run for all of us.
All right, but are you excited or worried about this? Because this might have larger implications on jobs as well.
Right. So I'm not really excited, but I'm not really excited if I look at into the job market per se. But I'm really excited about the way the technology that we are advancing what we are today. Let's talk about some of the specific, right? If everything is done by AI, then the biggest impact that what we're going to see largely is the publishers market today, which are heavily dependent on SEO, and the transactional companies like real estate, music, or if you look at travel, there are many categories, or the different categories or the segments that they're all depend on search today.
Right.
I'm sure there will be huge impact in most of these categories, and that's where something which positively and negatively impact. The positive part of it is you'll get a core audience, even though if you may not be getting 100 million users, even if you get like 1 million users who are equally intent driven, will have a high conversion rate is what we should look at it. If you observe Srinivas from Perplexity has mentioned 10% of a website's actual referral traffic is actually from Perplexity, which means they are high intent driven users because they ask for a question in a different app and they felt it is useful to click on the website to get more information.
Right.
That's a loyalty, and that's a high intent driven is what you can actually make a better impact. And it all depends on the content again. Whereas the downside of it is, I myself has been running some of the websites where instead of 10 people, I'm actually putting only 3 or 4 people to get the entire work done. So the downside is that there will be an impact in terms of hiring people or the job as a market, right? So, I mean, there will be a positives and negatives. All we have to do is watch out and see how it's going to happen.
Right. Mr. Kasturi, help us also understand a future without search engine, but based on Google search generative experience. What does this really mean? Kindly decode it in simpler words for our viewers.
Yeah, so very simple. You've asked for a question. Right now, you have to go through every blue link that comes in the search results to read it, to understand what everybody is talking about, and everybody has their own version. Now, the search generative experience comes in a simple format. It actually summarizes what everybody is talking in a simpler words to you at the beginning of the search results. Now, if you like it, the conversation, you'll get an answer, and if you don't like it, maybe you'll click on the reference links to go for it.
Right.
Now, because of search generative experience, that is the way it is positioned in the top of the search results, there are too many complications, at least I see in a way, where the SEO results has been pushed down. It actually impacts their CTRs, which is by natural because the users tend to click on the first results much faster.
Right.
And also I have seen lately, Google is also working a lot on the accuracy and the facts in the search generative experience to get the best results in the search generative experience in the summary. That actually means that the more and more it works towards to it, the more and the less clicks that the SEO results will get in, or the sponsor listings can get in. It is actually nothing but making sure that user gets the answers as a habit in the search. And in my opinion, maybe that is one way Gemini comes into the play. The more and more you get used to it, the more and more you get into the Gemini app or on the web experience to get the entire answers than actually going into search. And in my opinion, it's just a day one for a user to slowly getting into Gemini as an exercise,
Right.
to get there and get used to it. That's how I see it as a expert. I mean, for a user, it is very useful.
Right.
For a business owner, it is a hard hit on my day-to-day numbers in terms of traffic, users, and the revenue as well.
Well, that brings me to the very next question. Will search engines disappear suddenly and entirely? I mean, like, how does this look like for viewers and users?
Yeah, I think it will not disappear completely, and it's a very long way to go. There are categories like travel, food, lifestyle, health. There are categories where user is coming today to find information, and that is something where eventually will drop off because there might be apps or companies like Perplexity comes in play to get the right answers to the users in the app itself, and eventually that leads to a drop in search queries in Google search completely. I mean, at least I believe that is something is going to happen and for the future. And I mean, it's already happening and that's going to impact a lot in the future. And there are categories like news will still remain same. But the challenge in the news is that the search generative experience come and play and may take away some CTRs. But still the news, people still go to Google search and get all the information there. Right. Whereas some categories, they will completely move away. And EdTech as a category where I've been observing, health as a category that I've been observing, where Perplexity gets a lot of traffic and also Perplexity is actually sending a lot of traffic to outside websites. Right. Very interesting to see their numbers. And if this continues, the loyalty builds to a small app, which is going to be the bigger search engine in the future. And if that happens, then eventually the search queries will drop.
All right. Help us understand that you are suggesting at the fact that my very next search for a bookstore near me will eventually become a paid search. Is that what you're pointing or hinting at?
I mean, I'm not directly saying yes to it, but eventually you'll get there. That's what my opinion here, right. Because the more and more the loyal you search for any business query, and if the SEO results are pushing down, then the sponsor listings are the only way for you to advertise. Right. Now that happens, when that happens, then eventually you'll get spending more money in the sponsor listings, while you'll get the same conversion what it is today, but eventually losing out the organic traffic.
Okay. Mr. Kasturi, help us also understand the direct impact on content creators or digital publishers, especially people in this industry that are largely dependent on Google text for their revenue.
Right. I think it will be having a huge impact overall in the industry. Like I earlier mentioned, when AI just started, I just want to understand how search works, how Google algorithm takes up the entire AI content in a way. I have just launched very quickly in a span of 1 month 4 websites with a very limited set of users, where I've used tools like ChatGPT, Bing, and also some of the tools that are available to generate the content to get the websites out. Right now, imagine to do the same thing. At least I need to spend like 90 days to get the right resource, to get them on board, to create a website, it takes minimum 6 months, right? Whereas here, everything happened in just 1 month. That's a small example on how AI can change the entire industry, especially the content side of it. Now, the good side of it is you'll have more content. The bad side of it is that nobody knows what accuracy of this content is coming from, right? And there are so many examples everybody called out how the factually the entire AI actually gone wrong. But it's a learning for them to get there. Now, when this happens, eventually I believe that some set of categories where the content will have an impact overall in terms of the resources that you actually need to put in so much of content on the website, and that's going to have a big impact in the overall job making that we're having today. And second part, what I look at is that there was a story about like people are complaining that Google is putting ads on those websites which has AI generated content, and I myself have some of the websites where I get ads as well, but it's 100% written by AI, right? So eventually advertisers also may feel the vibe of it and saying that, look, this is not actual user written, it's AI written. Now, is it a good, bad? Nobody knows about it, but there will be a turbulence in the advertising revenue in such scenarios as well. I mean, as long as you get it right, you get it right, and that is the future, everybody get it right. But today, there will be an impact on all of this overall. And the more and more, the bigger part is, the more and more the AI grows, the users moving away. Like Gartner report says that 25% of the drop can happen by 2026 in the overall searches. The more and more it happens, the lesser and the lesser the revenues that they're going to make, right? So that's how it is for me in the long run.
So in short, Gemini's new version, or probably Gemini as a fresh rollout, is challenging not just ChatGPT and Copilot, but also challenging human skill set.
That's totally true. I believe in that, and that's what even Google is mentioning that, look, we came a long way, and today is a day where I have to go and experiment what's the future. And there's nothing wrong in experimenting it, and if that experiment is successful, with the multimodal that Pichai is talking about, then eventually that's going to be the future for us.
Right.
And if that happens, then there will be a lot of impacts in multiple formats.
All right. Mr. Kasturi, you are a climate advocate yourself. Now talk to me about the climatic concerns of this powerful AI rollout. Will it consume equally enough of water or less? How is it going to be like?
Yeah, I was like, every time, Kuina, every time when I search in Google, I don't feel the vibe that, oh, something is wrong, but every time when I use AI, I always feel that, is this query that I entered in the ChatGPT is actually taking away a glass of water somewhere, right?
Yeah,
so
deep
in my mind, it's always there that the more and more, I feel guilty about it, right? So half a liter of water, I was reading in online somewhere the information, again, I don't know whether it is true or not, but half a liter will go away for every 50 prompts that you do on ChatGPT or the AI platforms, right? It's very hard, very concerning for me to look at these aspects. And I'm sure everybody is cracking a model to see how do we consume less water on it. But as a climate person, I run Scale Climate Action, one of the startup, but I really worried about the way it is going, and the more and more you go on this, there will be a lot of complications in the future which nobody is addressing today, and that is something where we should start talking about it. A query that you do here may be impacting a bird somewhere flying, maybe an impact of the glass of water someone is supposed to take, which is a big concern for us. And I'm sure these giants will come and talk about it in the future to find a way to ease that and making a better future for a lot of us.
All right. Mr. Kasturi, so overall, a thumbs up or a thumbs down from you to Gemini?
Gemini is definitely as a technology thumbs up, and from the jobs perspective, and if you look at the other aspects of the future, not just only Gemini, but overall, I believe it's going to give complications, and there I'm going to put a thumbs down. Not just only Gemini, but overall AI as a overall platforms.
Right. And one warning for the users and the publishers who are majorly dependent on their revenue from Google text. One up straight warning and a message for my young viewers.
No, I think for the publishers, I think recently also I said somewhere that you want users and you want the core users that you are looking at. Stop looking at a scale of numbers. Start looking at the quality of the content. The better content that you give, the better branding that happens. And if you have a better content that explains about your brand, You can actually tap into subscriptions, building loyal users, and making sure that is the future for us, and making sure your content speaks a lot than just numbers that you have to claim that I'm a leader in the market. Rather, have the loyal user bases. Direct channel is going to be a very impactful channel going forward to explain how strong a brand is, because that explains the quality of the content is what I look at it. And I'm sure advertisers will actually like that fact that this is a brand recall website which has a lot of loyalty, and advertising such websites actually builds their credibility as well. I mean, that's where I believe is what publishers should focus more on it. And the revenue flows to you as soon as you build that brand and brand loyalty completely on that. And for those I've been investing a lot. As an investor, I will really watch out to see what's happening. Because there's a lot of chaos everywhere. Everywhere there's a new AI startup, and then after seeing that startup, 10 startups are coming with the same idea in multiple models, right?
Right.
You should be very careful about it. Watch out what's happening around. Watch for the future. Don't do for today, because this is going to be there for some time. And if you do it right, you will get it right. Otherwise, like always, it will become a great custody.
Well, this conversation has laid bare the fascinating yet complex questions surrounding the future of search. It's clear that the future is not set in stone, and we, the users and the viewers, have a voice in shaping it. So leave your comments in the section below and we'll try and reach out to you.